And you know I'm looking tight. These jealous niggas looking at me and my car so shy. Wanna take my life and wanna jack, but I see all through that. Never let these niggas say what's my nigga, never do that. Say he gonna do a thing, but you ain't never lied. Hey guys, act like he ain't mine. We are gonna get started here. Let me get my turn this down. That is sweet gonna get them through my dough. All right. So let me get a brand here, or I should say a banner up here. We are going to talk about a very serious topic today. It's actually pretty damn disgusting, if you ask me. Thanks to you guys who are over here on the backup channel. As you all know, in my last live, I received a strike. You guys, for the first time ever in my life. Y'all know I lost the channel many years ago. Many years ago, but I'm talking about myleakyou.com channel was struck. I got a strike for a really weird thing. Hold on. Lavish dinner. Wow. Troops kill 114 people. All right, here we go. There's the banner. All right, so yes, I am dealing with a strike. So you guys definitely subscribe to this channel. This is I'm streaming hey TRG. So I'm streaming, to my backup channel, but I'm also streaming to my crimes and investigations channel as I continue to build that up. And we're going to talk today about a pretty serious topic. It's absolutely disgusting, even to talk about this. Myanmar has also Myanmar. Oh my gosh, Myanmar. There's been a weekend of absolute outrageous bloodshed in Myanmar, also known as Burma. It's a country in Asia. Myanmar, it's in Southeast Asia, actually. There's over like 100 different ethnic groups. We're talking Indian, Bangladesh, China, Laos, Thailand. It's I can tell you this. People have been running across the Thailand border. As of this moment, as of right now, at this very moment, people are being shot down in Myanmar by their own government. Okay? To them, protesters are criminals. All protesters are criminals. You cannot go out in the streets of Myanmar and protest like you can in America. Their official language is Burmese, and they have a population of 54 million people. Okay. Now, I want to talk about what's going on over there, and I'm going to show, a few things here. It is, and the main thing I want to talk about that is absolutely and utter disgusting, and I hope that this man is held accountable, okay, is the fact that the junta chief, the Myanmar military chief, held a lavish dinner. We're talking red carpet and all, while his troops were shooting people down in the streets. 114 people have been confirmed killed in this weekend's bloodshed. I expect that number to rise, on top of the fact that people are still right now running for their lives as of this very moment. Now, I'm going to play this real quick. Now, there is a ton of international condemnation happening. You know, Myanmar has been a very complex place for years. They're, you know, they're watched, the citizens of Myanmar are watched so closely that even their groups or their communications or the things that they do online are very secretive. There are even secret groups on Facebook. I'm a member of one, and because I was added to one, a couple actually, by people because they wanted to be able to get news from the outside because they don't trust the news on the inside. And so it's an honor to be able to those of you in Myanmar that may be hearing this broadcast, please share this with your contacts within Myanmar, that I want y'all to know the world is looking at your country right now, and we are condemning the actions of your government. So let me kind of go into detail here. I'm going to play this. This, you know, will give you a good idea of what CNN is saying about this situation. And this is especially for those of you in Myanmar who I know has no access to a lot of outside external media.
Every step.
And so I do this for you, and I will continue to keep my eyes posted on the status and the situation that is happening in Myanmar, also known as Burma. Here we go.
The military in Myanmar is responsible for much more than the February 1st coup and ensuing crackdown against protesters. The military has also long been heavily involved in the business of making money.
The military has a tentacle in almost every part of the Myanmar economy.
Chris Sidati was a member of a United Nations fact-finding mission, which published a 2019 report on the economic interests of the Myanmar military. It concluded that the same generals who've been accused by the UN of committing human rights abuses against ethnic groups like the Rohingyas are also in charge of two of the biggest conglomerates in the country, Myanmar Economic Holdings Limited and Myanmar Economic Corporation.
Today, MEC is one of Myanmar's leading conglomerates.
Their portfolios include banks, oil and gas extraction, mining, ports, hotels, telecommunications, breweries, and even a golf resort. A separate 2020 report by Amnesty International exposed the unique relationship between individual combat divisions and the conglomerate MEHL.
Almost every single top officer of the military holds shares in this large business conglomerate that's collecting profit and dividends.
At the top of the pyramid, this man, Min Aung Hlaing, the commander-in-chief of Myanmar's armed forces. He declared himself ruler of the country during the coup of February 1st. But the UN report also identifies him as chairman of the Patron Group, part of MEHL's corporate leadership. He's essentially a business mogul in an army general's uniform. That unusual position highlighted at the 2018 launch ceremony for Mytel, a cell phone company joint venture between a Myanmar military-owned conglomerate and a telecommunications company owned by the Vietnamese military. Min Aung Hlaing shared the stage with Vietnamese top brass. At a press conference weeks after the coup, a military spokesman seemed to anticipate the junta would face international criticism. He said sanctions are expected, and they've come from mainly Western governments.
A new executive order enabling us to immediately sanction the military leaders who directed the coup, their business interests, as well as close family members.
The Treasury Department targeted 2 adult children of Myanmar's top general, accusing them of benefiting, quote, from their father's position and malign influence. Washington also sanctioned the adult children's companies, including a restaurant, a media production company, and a chain of gyms called Everfit. Despite the sanctions, I can still access an app from Everfit on my iPhone's App Store. I can also download another app called OCCDS, and that stands for the Office of the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Services. It's basically a public relations media platform for Min Aung Hlaing, the military dictator of Myanmar. On the bloody streets of Myanmar's cities and towns, the death toll continues to grow. The military seeks to crush the popular uprising against the coup. The struggle over the future of democracy in Myanmar is also a battle over who will control the country's economy. Ivan Watson, CNN, Hong Kong.
All right, so let's talk about this lavish dinner party, okay? So this same leader, hey Armand, the same leader that you all seen, threw a lavish dinner party Saturday while his troops shot down more than 100 people in the streets of Myanmar and forced thousands of people to flee into neighboring Thailand during a weekend of indiscriminate terror and bloodshed that has been widely condemned internationally. Images posted on social media show this coup leader dressed in a bow tie and a white metal-laden jacket while walking a red carpet, greeting attendees and sitting down to a meal to mark Armed Forces Day. This was Armed Forces Day, a celebration, a holiday within Myanmar that this unfortunate event happened. This annual holiday commemorates the beginning of the Army's resistance against Japanese occupation in World War II. And the junta staged a show of force with a military parade. Saturday was also the full moon day of Tabong, the end of Myanmar's lunar calendar, and an important time in Buddhism that should have been celebrated with festivals and visits to pagodas. Instead, soldiers and police embarked on a rampage, killing at least 114 people, including children. 44 towns and cities across this country on Saturday. Okay, they went to 44 towns and cities and killed 114 people. That's just the people we know about. It was the deadliest day since the army seized power in a coup and overthrew the country's elected government on February 1st of this year. This is what a coup looks like. And the key to a coup, where we kind of talked a little bit about this, about, when Donald Trump had the insurrection at the Capitol. If he would have had any sort of ties into the military or had any sort of power or military power, I'm pretty confident that he could have had a coup himself. The key to a coup is having that military power, and they have that. Now, the United States President Joe Biden has also joined the international community in condemning this situation. He described the actions of the military as absolutely outrageous. We, the United States, has imposed sanctions on several of the generals, as you just heard in that news clip, including the junta chief, Min Aung Hlaing, and 2 military-owned conglomerates. That's what we like to do in the United States. We love to do sanctions, right? We love to sanction, because we're always giving money out to all these countries, or, it's crazy. On Monday, the UK government urged British nationals in Myanmar to leave the country immediately. Meanwhile, Thailand's prime minister said his government has prepared for a potential influx of refugees from neighboring Myanmar. Quote, "We have prepared the areas if the influx happens so we know where to keep them. We don't want to have any influx into our area, but we certainly have to take human rights issues into our consideration." Thailand has hosted tens of thousands of refugees in 9 main camps along its border with Myanmar for 30 years. 30 years. Now you see what I'm saying about how bad it's been in Myanmar. As well as the indiscriminate killing of unarmed people, brutal acts were widely reported over the weekend. A 40-year-old Mandalay resident was shot and burned alive by military troops. According to Myanmar Now, which quoted residents and a night guard in the victim's neighborhood, there were also reports of security forces shooting into residential buildings, doing nighttime raids, arresting people, looting, and destroying people's private property. And this is just a photo. Family members and relatives attend the funeral ceremony of 13-year-old Sai Yan, who was shot dead while playing outside his house in Myanmar on March 28th, yesterday. As citizens tried to mourn their dead yesterday, the killings and acts of violence continued. Reuters has reported that security forces opened fire at a funeral service of a 20-year-old student in Bago near the commercial capital of Yangon. Mourners were forced to flee. Children were not spared from the carnage. At least 6 children between the ages of 10 and 16 were among those killed on Saturday. UNICEF says 35 children have been killed by junta forces since the coup. 11-year-old boy, 11-year-old girl, 2 13-year-old boys, a 13-year-old girl, 3 16-year-old boys, and 2 17-year-old boys all reportedly shot and killed. A 1-year-old baby girl was gravely injured after being struck in the eye with a rubber bullet. These are just the latest casualties of children on the bloodiest day in Myanmar since the military takeover. This is a photo of mourners attending the funeral of Tin La, 43, who was shot dead by security forces during a protest against this military coup on March 27th, 2 days ago. We're talking about people having to hide in the jungle, okay? Villagers are hiding in terror in the jungle, in the jungles that surround, that are within this country or surround this country. And again, right now, my understanding is over 3,000 people have crossed into Thailand to take refuge, to save their lives. There's been a lot of fighting, in Myanmar for many years, as I was just, telling you guys, for 30 years, Thailand has. This is a massacre. It's mass murder. It's brutal, cowardly, shameful attacks. And I don't give a damn what orders you're given as a military officer. There should be some sort of line that you just don't cross when it comes to murdering innocent people, women, and children. How can a soldier shoot and kill innocent women and children? For what? It's just, every one of you involved in this in Myanmar are cowards. You're shameful, you're cowards, you're mass murderers, and you're disgusting, and you will be held accountable. Even if it's not on this earth, while we're all still living, God will hold you accountable for your violations of people's human rights. And there's no indication that this is going to calm down anytime soon. So I wanted to talk about it. I thought it was absolutely freaking disgusting that this chief, this junta chief, who's supposed to be now their commander, their so-called president after this coup in which he took over the country from its rightful elected officials. There was an election held, okay? And then this man throws a coup and takes over power okay? And then has the audacity to sit down and have a lavish dinner, walking the red carpet while people are getting shot down in the streets around him. You kidding me? You kidding me? Let me see if I can find a photo of him in his lavish get up. This asshole right here. This guy right here. This dude. This old fuck right here. Look at all these pictures of just utter destruction. And this motherfucker is having lavish dinners. You guys remember? Do you guys remember when Gaddafi? Well, first let me ask you this: have any of y'all ever seen the movie Six Underground? There's this movie called Six Underground, and in the end of this movie, a dictator was, instead of, the dictator was captured, but instead of killing the dictator was dropped off via helicopter to the people so that the people could do it themselves. And that's what I think needs to happen to individuals like that. And that's exactly what happened to Gaddafi. He was killed by his own people. He had been hiding out. His own people found him and they killed him. Remember, he's the guy that had all the female bodyguards. He used to always do that weird shit. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find something here to show you guys. Let me put up a viewer discretion is advised banner here. Viewer discretion is advised, guys, because I'm about to show you something. And that's the one thing that I'm also been thinking about, is the fact that I'm getting to the point on one of my channels where I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers on my crime and investigations. And I am kind of looking into doing like members only. And with the members only type of piece or platform or whatever, that's the sort of videos or lives where I will be more lenient and show, things like we talked the other day about the Princess Diana photo, right? The Princess Diana photo seen around the world. But there's one photo that I have that I did not show during that live. It's a very sought after photo. And I feel like that photo should only be visible to those that are really members of mine, because I know that it will be screenshot, screen recorded. Not many people have that photo. It's a very sought after photo. And I just feel like some of my content, I want to bring a little bit closer to the vest. And, it's for my real supporters. You know what I mean? So anyway, viewer discretion is advised. I want to show you. Let's go on and talk about what happens to dictators. To dictators. Give me a second. Let me see. No, not that one. Let's see if this is the one. Because, this is, let me see, is this it? Yes, it is. Yes. Okay. I'm going to show you something, and it's going to be a bit shocking. It's not too gruesome, but it's Gaddafi being caught by his own people. Now, he was alive. They're saying Allah Akbar, meaning God is great. They've got him, but believe me, he didn't survive. His own people dismembered him and tore him apart. And I don't mean dismember literally. He had no more control. I mean, think about it. Think about it. He led Libya for years. He led Libya for years. For many, many years. And to think he came from the top of his gold-plated or his gold toilets to hiding underneath the ground and being found and murdered by his own people. You know how many people he killed in his life? Let me show you an additional video here. Again, viewer discretion is advised. We are talking about, dictators, and the best example that we have is, Gaddafi, and how Gaddafi, my whole life, I know growing up, being, young or whatever, I always heard of Gaddafi. He was quite famous. He was quite known. Remember, he's the guy that had nothing but female bodyguards, right? It's because he was having sex with all of them. But when he was captured after being on the run, and it's just a story that you just have to go and read up on. Let's take a look at this, okay? This is graphic, so viewer discretion is advised. So Libya, an analysis of video obtained by many people had cell phones, guys, recording this, all right? And this was history. This was a historical moment when this happened. It was unbelievable that this was happening, honestly. And, I would advise any of you to take some time to look at the death of Muammar. I can't even barely say his first name, Gaddafi. Just Gaddafi. When he was first captured, confirms that another rebel fighter whose identity is unknown sodomized the former leader as he was being dragged from the drain pipe where he had taken cover. Now, I do recall the fact that he was in a drain pipe. I was not aware that he had been sodomized. They say a frame-by-frame analysis of this exclusive Global Post video clearly shows the rebel trying to insert some kind of stick or knife into Gaddafi's rear end. Now, I've never heard this. Global Post correspondent Tracy Shelton says there is some question as to whether the instrument was a knife from the end of a machine gun, which Libyans call a baguette, or some kind of a stick. The latest video discovery, and believe me, there's been lots of videos coming out with Gaddafi over the years. I mean, of course, when something happens, you get that original flood of videos. But as the years go on, more will come out, So this is news I didn't even know about. Apparently, this has been out since 2011. By the way, well, you guys can't even see that, so there's no point in bringing it up. I was going to show you the URL on this page. If you ever create a website, guys, please be mindful that it's not a good idea to always put the date in the URL. Make the URL as short as possible. Anyway, it says here they called for a formal investigation into how the former Libyan leader was killed. Well, I think it's obvious. In video clips that have emerged of his capture, Gaddafi can be seen injured but alive. Later, he is seen with what appears to be gunshot wounds to his head and chest. According to the Geneva Conventions, however, abuse of prisoners under any circumstance is not permissible. I don't think they cared about the Geneva Convention in Libya at this time. Here is a frame-by-frame look at the attack. Below the frames is video decoding the cell phone footage of the capture, and finally at the bottom is the full video. You can see the attempt to sodomize Gaddafi at the 16-second mark. Wow, I did not know this. I did not know this. And he is absolutely wow. A knife? I mean, you can tell there's some blood there because there's no blood there. You can tell he's wow, okay. Wow. Now there's Gaddafi there. This image is captured off a cell phone. It shows his arrest. Let's see. Let's keep going. There he is. Remember? He used to be all dressed all fancy in his hats and his suits. This is Gaddafi in Egypt visiting Hosni Mubarak, who was with this Arab Spring completely taken off his throne in Egypt. The Lockerbie bombing. Now, you guys, I don't know how old you guys may be, but I remember the Lockerbie bombing. Remember that when that airplane was blown up over Lockerbie, and a lot of it led back to Libyan leader Gaddafi. He was acquitted in the Lockerbie bombing trial. Basically, they put a bomb on the plane and it blew up over Lockerbie. He was acquitted, and it was the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. He was found guilty by a Scottish court and sentenced to life in prison, for which he served 8 years before being released on humanitarian grounds. And this was Abdel Basit Ali al-Magrani. He was the co-defendant to Libyan leader. Oh, wait, no. Libyan leader welcomed these defendants. I see. So basically, it's all, you've got these Libyans who were convicted of blowing up, Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, and you've got the president of Libya, or the leader of Libya, Gaddafi, welcoming them into the country like it's nothing. This is Gaddafi with President Putin in Tripoli. And I should say Russian President Putin. I'm sure he would love to be the world's president if he could. I'm going to show y'all something in a minute. Here he is, infamous, when he arrives to meet President Vladimir Putin of Russia in Tripoli. And we're just kind of going through these photos. It looks like he's in like a golf cart or something. Remember, he used to love to have the finest things. He vowed a long war against the Crusader aggression after over 100 missiles were fired by the US and UK during a multinational action. Oh yeah, we were not friends with Libya. We wanted Gaddafi out of power. A rebel militiaman stands in the ashes of an alleged torture chamber of the former Libyan Internal Security Force in Benghazi. Now, I mean, we've all heard of Benghazi, right? Libya. All this ties back, okay? The notorious building was mostly burned in the uprising that drove loyalists to President Muammar Gaddafi's out of Benghazi the week before. Let's just keep going through these. I mean, Absolute terror. Absolute terror. Not to mention the fact that we've got a whole country, Syria, and a president over Syria who, you know, consistently attacks his people with chemical attacks, killing his own people. Okay, so this is where Gaddafi had been hiding. So Gaddafi was hiding in this pipe, in this large concrete pipe, and was captured here. He had this guy who's dead was his loyal gunman, so he lost his life. Now this is once they captured him. And when I tell you, people celebrated and celebrated and celebrated, they celebrated. Oh, yeah. All right, before I leave, I want to show you guys this really interesting video real quick. I don't know if y'all have ever, hold on, let me do it here. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Like a Boss. There is this. There's this series that goes on, and I want you guys just to see this. It's just very interesting.
Говорит и показывает Москва.
Crazy, right? This is the type of image, though, that Putin likes to give. It's like he shut all the streets down. Watch how he walks in. This is after he was so-called reelected again. Watch how he walks, though. Notice his right hand barely moves like his left. You know, he used to be a spy, right? They say that Putin always has a gun on him, too. Watch his right hand, how it barely moves. There's actually, it's like some sort of a security thing when you see men do that. Boy, those chandeliers are something, ain't they? I just had to show that because, man, there's a lot of videos that are like, they're called Like a Boss, and there's just this thing that Putin, you know, does. I can tell you right now that Russia is extremely active on social media. I mean, hell, they found me through social media because of my vlogging, and I ended up doing a TV show with them on Donald Trump. So, there's also been times too. I mean, Russia is really serious. If you do a video that is negative to what Russia's interests are, they'll actually ban your video from being visible in their country on YouTube. I kid you not. I kid you not. But anyway, guys, listen, it has really been a pleasure. We'll keep doing what we're doing. Spread the word, everybody, that, right now I'll be over here on the backup channel, and my crimes and investigations channel. Y'all please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. I think what is the next live that I have? Well, I'm not even sure. I'm not even going to check it. Don't even worry about it. Anyway, listen, y'all, have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will absolutely be careful, Armand. Y'all have a good one. Bye.